Okay, good morning. Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is January, February, March, April. It is April 7th of 2024, and it's almost 7 a.m. in the morning. Well, I have made a improvement to the system, I believe, here. Didn't take very long. I had two monitors, hooked up here on this desktop. And I had a problem with this, with the microphone here. It was in front of, I'd be going to the mouse and I'd run into the cables and whatever. So, very quickly this morning, I just went to my 29-inch, I think it is, LG monitor wide. The configuration is, let's see, display setting is 2560 by 1080. And that means I have one monitor, and it means I have space on each side, for the speakers, which they could be someplace else, but they're there, and there's nothing else there. Now maybe, but I think this may work right here. The, the microphone. Maybe I can do a little bit of rearranging of the cables or something. But, okay, I think that's going to work out. Oh, I think this is going to work out okay until I change something, which I undoubtedly always do. So, I like this. Okay, I have quite a few monitors here. And I do like this wide monitor. And I do like one monitor on my desk. And I think this is going to work out okay. Now, I want room to move stuff, and I want to be able to, have my video up there of me waving, hopefully, to you. Hopefully you're seeing it. And then I'll be able to figure some other things, out as I go along. Like I said, today's the 7th. On the 22nd, I have to go back to the eye doctor, but that's, all my surgery and all that kind of stuff is done over with. That doesn't sound good, does it? So I have two cameras hooked up. So right now I'm using the Avery Media, and that's over there. And then I have up here the, that probably should be the one I'm using, the Razor. And I think that'd be in a better position for me. So I think we're on the road to success. Remember, I paid, by the way, for Zorin, the new version, and that was $42. I've got it saved. I hope I don't delete it. I've got it saved here. And I think maybe before long, well, I want to make sure that, because I went to it, a little bit last week or something like that. But I was really messed up. Things were kind of in a mess. And I want to make sure that I have my email system I still have it, on, Linux, but I also want to have it on a separate computer, and not my Chrome book. I don't want to use that. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm going to be messing around here with everything, and then I want to have an extra little computer. If I can get one of these 3 that I bought broke, I didn't buy them broke. I don't know. I broke them, I guess. Probably broke them because I kept rearranging them. So, Jim, do not rearrange anything. But I think I'll be better when I get this razor working for the video. And I'll keep this microphone, even though I've got this thing that I've been waiting for. Yeah, I do need this razor razor going. Better position than the Avery Media sitting on a small tripod. I wonder if I brought it down. If I brought this down without breaking something here. Coming down, coming down, coming down. Whoops, hooked on a cable here. And go right down to here. Yeah, that will be better for right now. This Avery Media, it's a nice, the thing kind of broke or something, the stand type thing. And I'm not sure, so, where it's supposed to go, like if I try to put it up here, it'll fall off the back. But this will be okay, I think. Let's see, yeah. That's going to be fine, I think. So let's see what's in the news today. By the way, I think I mentioned yesterday that I was going to upload my videos that are on the site here of my 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. And I've got a TicTok. So it's been set up for a long time, but I think I had like 2 videos in it. I'm sure there is some software. TicTok software. Is there TicTok software that'll do it? Some kind of software where I could just go and list my 11, I think it's 11 videos, and then say upload, and it would upload it. And that was because yesterday I uploaded 1, and it went okay. And then when I tried to do the 2nd and the 3rd, there was something I was doing wrong. So, and you see behind me also, I changed back that poster back there. And that's better, because I had a whole bunch of reminder notes to me or something, and stuff like that. I do want a new cell phone, and Hillary has one for me. Well, she gave me one before, and she has a new expensive, the screen broke on it, and she has a screen. Now and I haven't either. And I was going to do the first one, I think it was, or was it the second one? I was going to do it, and then I saw that you had to heat up the cell phone, and then take off the old one and then put on a new one. I thought, oh man, I don't feel like, because I just knew disaster was going to strike me. So she's going to do that. So I'll have a Samson something, a late model one, not the very latest, but I'll have that if she ever gets it to me. She's really busy. She is rescuing cats and other animals that she can, and she's one of those people. They're not as bad as the vegetarians, but the animal people are, because I think we probably all had I had a Cocker Spaniel for many years of my growing up, and lady passed away. She gave birth to some puppies, which was, I think, kind of late for her to be, putting out puppies. I was in high school, and she had some kind of problems. The puppies were delivered, I believe. Can't remember. Maybe not. Anyway, my mother, told my dad that she needed to go to a vet, and he said, piss on her. I'm not paying for her to go to a vet or something like that. And then I knew she was having trouble, So I went to De La Salle Military Academy, a Catholic high school, taught by the Christian Brothers. So I was at school, and I just knew she was, So I used to be an altar boy and everything, so I knew a bunch of, riding the regular public bus. They didn't have school buses. I mean, they had school buses back in those days, but the Catholic schools didn't usually have one unless they were really, really big, like Rockhurst or something. So anyway, I was praying all the way home, not out loud, all the way home that day. And when I got home, I found lady in front of the refrigerator, dead or whatever. So now we ended up with a dog, a Labrador Retriever after that. I was in high school, of course, and I was in civil defense, the Ground Observer Corps, and civil defense, Ground Observer, all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. And my father, I never called my parents dad and mom, so I'm going to go, I've mentioned that a dozen times, no, more than a dozen times. I wish I had $1 for every time I've mentioned that I did not call them mom and dad. I called them Jim and Betty. So Jim was a Boilermaker. I was a Boilermaker. My mother was a Boilermaker during World War II. Jim and Betty we were in California. But my father was a Boilermaker and working out in the field. I forget where, Iowa or someplace. Local 83 of the Boilermakers covered 4 states. And so I think he had just come into town. Okay, it's been a while. Maybe he showed up after I went to the Army Record Center, and the Army, allowed the Ground Observer Corps service, part of the Air Force auxiliary type thing or whatever. And so, the two of us who would be, worked 2 hours, didn't get paid now, by the way, but, and there was on top of the Army Record Center, a tower that went up, not real high, but, went up with a thing up there, and we would stand watching for enemy aircraft, watching for USSR aircraft. I've mentioned that several times, So, this was in Kansas City, Missouri. And of course, they had them all over the United States until Canada and the United States had perfected the long-range radar that they needed. They needed people that could watch. But I've commented many times here, you know, being in Kansas City, Missouri, you know, the heart of America, the central part of the United States, if we saw USSR aircraft over Kansas City, I don't think we really needed to call in. The way we called in was we had a phone there, and you dialed the operator, and you said aircraft flash. And then I'm not sure, I don't think we gave it to, I think it's when the control centers or whatever for you know, I think it's then that when they answered. Now, we took priority over, I don't know who they would if they needed to. I know one time I got connected from Kansas City, Missouri to Montreal, Canada Air Defense Command, you know, because they needed to plug us in immediately. So, anyway, we say aircraft flash, the operator would connect us, we dialed operator, you know, then we said aircraft flash, the operators connected us immediately. I guess if they needed to unplug somebody, I'm not sure. That'd be kind of funny to have seen, you know, like, you know, the governor of Missouri or something on a telephone call, and all of a sudden, you know, he would be disconnected or something. I doubt that would have ever happened, you know what I mean? But, you know, I was disconnected. And they'd say, well, they wouldn't even know they'd disconnected by the time they'd be, you know, but that'd been kind of funny. Why did I get disconnected? I'm the governor, you know, or whatever. And they'd have said, some high school kid, you know, made a call and he took priority over you. That would have been something to see. Anyway, eventually the Ground Observer Corps was done away with by the Air Force. I've still got my little pen. It's about, here we go. It's about that. Whoops. Oh, there we are over. I changed camera. Okay. You know, it's like that big. And then I think we were already in civil defense. I mean, you didn't have to be. I mean, some people were in civil defense. Some people were in the Ground Observer Corps. Some people, you know, Civil Air Patrol. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on. What kind of bothered, I was in civil defense in Kansas City, Missouri. And so like once a month we had a meeting. And I would say there was like 10 people there for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And that didn't make sense. Now, there was a few times, like when they showed pictures of the bombing with a nuclear bomb of, you know, Japan. The word was put out, and there was a few extra people showed up to see that. But so when they did away with, that's right. When they did away with the Ground Observer Corps, when the Air Force did away with that, there had been a pretty bad tornado in the Kansas City, Missouri area. Well, probably more than one, but you know, there was one that was pretty big and pretty deadly. And what happened when that happened? I think we had like 3 TV stations, you know, and there weren't really any trained, weather observers for that. And so they took those of us that were in the Ground Observer Corps, the Weather Bureau came in and trained us, and then we were the people, because what was happening was, police officers weren't trained, firemen weren't trained, honestly, apparently. And what would happen would be, a police officer would be driving around in his patrol car, and he'd see a nice fluffy cloud up there or something, and he'd call in, I see a tornado at, 18th and Paseo or whatever, and the weather or the TV stations would, take their soap operas and things off that would go off, and it would just be then the weatherman at the, oh, we have a report from a police officer, or a fireman or somebody. And then and so what was happening was there was hours and hours of no soap operas or anything like that. And everybody, except the people who lived in Ruskin Heights area where that tornado hit. Those people, years and years later, I had a private patrol service for a while, and I patrolled the Ruskin area and a little bit bigger area of that. And, I'm talking, I don't know how many, 20 years later or something like that, and or longer. And when if the sky would get cloudy or whatever, the people that lived in Ruskin Heights, or the Ruskin Apartments or whatever, that was one of my accounts, they'd be standing out there looking at the sky. They'd put the fear of God into them. But what was happening, and people were really upset, other people that weren't in the Ruskin area, they wanted their television back. But what they needed to do was to have people who were trained. Now, amateur radio operators, also. I don't remember. I'm an amateur radio operator, by the way. I don't remember then, but I might be mistaken. Surely they were. I know they sure were when I was a ham radio operator. That if you listen to, I could even turn it on for you. If you listen to the weather frequency, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the Weather Bureau, they activate amateur radio operators, and they start up their nets or whatever, and you got trained amateur radio operators who have communications. They have walkie-talkies and base stations and everything else, and they do a fantastic job. And then people could get their Days of Our Lives. God, I can't believe I remember. I never watched a soap opera. God, I hate those things. But by the way, I started somehow catching. Oh, I'm going to turn the volume down, or I'll get a hit, for the music. Somehow I started to turn up. tall for the girls. So then, you know, I remember them. Let me go back someplace here. The teacher, you know, would have to call in the parents or whatever, maybe two families, you know, and say, you know, Mary, you know, Mary's, whatever they call, you know, teammate or whatever, you know, let's say Bob. Bob has outgrown, you know, her. So we need to find, you know, somebody that's her, you know, in her height and that kind of stuff to, well, so that was a real problem, you know. And a bunch of those kids, you know, they're dancing with their brother or, you know, brother sister type situation or whatever. So, but I've watched a few of these, they're popping up. And, but I'm seeing the same ones, you know, for some reason. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of those out there, but I'm seeing a whole bunch of the same ones. And of course I don't know it till something. Like there's one video that they're short, that's one thing, you know, they're short. Not just the kids, you know. But I'll be seeing the video and not remembering that it's one that I've seen. There's one where the boy and the girl, you know, they all on the thing, they all finish their performance. And this girl then gets right up in the boy's face and she's telling him something. I don't know if he stepped on her or if he's not doing his movements right or something. She gave him hell. So, okay. Let me go back to YouTube stuff here. Let me go back to YouTube-y. Oh, there I am. Okay. Like I said, I want to do, well, one reason I want to do TicTok is they pay you, you know, you don't have to have X number, or, you know, they pay you right away when you start getting views, you know, they pay you. I've been with YouTube since 2005. I haven't got a penny from YouTube. But the reason for that, I guess, is my fault. Because you have to do three things in order to, well, you have to have X number of viewers, you have to have some of that stuff. I did all that stuff, you know, a long time ago. But you have to have some code to put three places. I put it one place, but I cannot, I know where the other places are, but I can't put it in. It doesn't take it, doesn't allow it. And I think I've been earning money, except I'm not getting it. And I'm just hoping that somebody, you know, in YouTube, you know, the thousands of people they have working that send out, you know, notices of you know, violation of copyright music, or that, I'm just hoping that somebody, someplace, in some office, someplace is going to say, hey, there's this guy, and he's been with us since, you know, 2005, and he's still not approved, you know, to make, and then check, and then they'd be, oh, okay, this dumbass, he didn't know how to put. Now, when I had my WordPress site online, there was items of code that needed to be put, and it was, you know, you could look at the code, and you could put it in where it needed to go. And I can't do that with, you know, YouTube. Now, the one item that I put in, yeah, I could put in that, and that took care of that. The other two, there isn't any place. Now, with the WordPress site, I was putting in, you know, I would purchase another thing that WordPress could do and that type of stuff. And then they would tell me, or I would know the code, and I would put it in where it went, you know, where it didn't show up. When you went to the page, you wouldn't see a code across there, you know. But Those were the good old days. Actually, they were. I mean, when I started out, and with a computer bulletin board system, I wrote the code in BASIC for it, and I wasn't the first one in Kansas City. There was actually the Apple Users Group. There was a guy who, I was using a Radio Shack Model 1 computer, and this guy was in Kansas City, and he wrote a BBS program for that, which I couldn't use because I didn't have hardware that I needed to add to the Radio Shack Model 1. So I wrote in BASIC, and I didn't know anything about programming. Well, there was a guy. Okay, he was selling, the software. So if somebody who had a Radio Shack Model 1, they they could have a bulletin board system. But he was an asshole. Now I went to his site because there was when I set up my bulletin board system. Well, I hadn't set that up yet. When he jumped on me several times, and like this one time, and I didn't, that's just the way he was. But, thank God for him, because he was the way he was, and getting some dust off of here. And so what was a turning point for me is I logged into, because there was only like 3 or 4 sites in Kansas City at that time. And so I logged in just to, we all did, just because we wanted to, we had a modem, we had a, computer of some kind. Maybe it was an Apple, maybe it was a Texas Instrument, or one of those others. And so anyway, I logged in and started typing a message to somebody, and he popped in, boom, that kind of scared you when you were new, not expecting it. And he popped in, and are you fucking stupid? What the hell's the matter with you, you idiot, or whatever? And I said, well, what did I do wrong, And he said, I just installed what was it called? Well, where you keep typing, you don't hit a carriage return at the end of the line. You just keep typing, and it wrapped around. And well, then he had it. He said, I just installed such and such. I said, what's that? God damn. He says, you just keep typing. You don't hit the enter. If you hit the enter again, you're off of here permanently or whatever. And I said, well, I'm sorry. Oh, but okay, then later on, not long after that, I saw advertised in a computer. I bought what was it? Computer Shopper. I love that. It was thick and big, and every page was computer stuff and stuff like that. Even stuff you could type in, in BASIC. Oh man. And you were bound to make, but you learned, you'd type and you thought you had it right, and then you'd run it, and it would crash on line 360, and then you'd look at it. Oh, I see. I hit, X instead of Y or something, and then you'd fix it, and then before long you'd be playing the game after having typed it in for 3 or 4 hours or whatever. And I just loved that computer. They had a T-shirt that they sold too, and I wore that thing till it wore out. I wish I had it back. I loved it. So anyway, I saw an ad in one of these computer magazines, and it was for a modem, and I didn't even know what a modem was. I swear to God. and so I ordered. So anyway, they had it. They didn't know what it was, but I ordered it. I think I might have had a little bit of an idea, a little bit. And I ordered it in, and it came, and I hooked it up, and then I could log into. There was like 4. One of them was an Apple, and the modem that I got would not log in to the Apple one because Apple did things different, you know. So I could log into the rest of them. And so I ordered another modem, one that I forget what they called it. They didn't say it worked with the Apple. They just said something about that. And so I got it in. It said AA is what it said. That was a tip-off, you know, auto answer or something. I would use the RS-232 port. That's what it was, yeah. And so anyway, I got it in, and then I logged into that guy's site. Before, that's, you know, he hadn't chewed my ass out yet. I said, oh, by the way, I've got this, you know, modem, and it says it does AA. What is that? And he was like, oh, God, man. Auto answer. It'll answer the telephone, you know, or your line or whatever. And I said, oh, okay. So then the Radio Shack computer came with a book on BASIC. And so, okay. Well, this is after this is after this guy chewed. Oh, that was it. Yeah, I asked him, on that call, I asked him, I said, you know, it's auto answer. And he said, yeah. I said, oh, auto answer. What can I do with that? And he was like, God damn, you know. So you want to run a bulletin board system? Well, I don't know how to run a bulletin board system, and you know, I said, could I, you know, do that? And he says, yes. He says, now what kind of hard drive do you? I'm not sure he even said hard drive because for a few people had a hard drive. I forget but I said, I don't have that. Okay, well, you know, then he says, okay, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to peek and poke into the code. And I said, peek and poke, what's that? And he said, you are too fucking stupid to do this. You can't have a bulletin board system. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And I said, okay, I'm sorry to bother you, you know, sir. And then I got up my book on BASIC, which I didn't know anything about, you know, computer programming. And then it came, this code here would pick up, you know, would you know, activate the phone. You know, they didn't say that, but you know, you look at the code. Okay, so I tried that. Oh, okay. I could get it to answer the phone. And then I'd go to bed, you know, and then the next day I'd get the thing and flip through, go through. Oh, okay. This would ask somebody, you know, you ask for input or whatever, and this would, they would type in their name. And then, I got that to happen. And then that's what I did. I went through the book in BASIC that way, learning BASIC. And then I wrote a BBS program that a bunch of people used. And eventually a guy who was a graduate of KU in electrical engineering, I've talked about that. He called in, you know, and he didn't. And that was kind of funny the way all that transpired. Anyway, he said, I'd like to come and see you. I don't know anything about computers, and something like that. I don't know if you could graduate even at that time and not know anything about computers, but so he came over and I gave him I printed out for him, gave him my code, and about a week later, whatever, or less, he called and said, well, I worked on your program for you. Is it okay if I come over? And I said, sure. So he came over. And that was it. And I gave him my computer program. Now, for a while, it took him quite a while to I went through all this. I won't go through it again. It took him quite a while to, And two, he was really smart, but he was arrogant. And I mean, I liked him, but he and he ended up being a teacher at, what's that place that taught computers, computers and other things like that. And I felt sorry. He was a professor, and I felt sorry for the students because I knew how he was. If some student would say, how do I do this? He would have said, let me show you. And then he would have showed him. But he wouldn't take it, he wouldn't do it slow and piece by piece, and he wouldn't do it for somebody like me, who, needed help or something. So I thought, DeBry, that was it. I thought, I feel sorry for those students because I knew how he was. He loved that, to do that 4th of July, or not, let's see, April Fool's Day. Oh, God. He would do something to your computer bulletin board system or something, He'd say, oh, type this, or do something, and it would be, your computer would start doing. He didn't break your computer or anything, but, but he just loved that kind of stuff. And when you're not, I promised somebody the other day said, Jim, stop telling people that you're not smart, because it just looks like you're, fishing for compliments or something like that. So he said, I said, okay. I said, I didn't do it for that reason. I told him, I said, I think the reason, well, I said, well, I'm not smart. But I said, I think the reason I do that is if I tell somebody, hey, I'm not really smart, I really don't understand how to do this, which is true, but I think it would make people think, oh, this guy's doing it, and he's not real smart, so I can do it, stuff like that. But anyway, I promised this friend of mine that I wasn't going to say I wasn't smart anymore. I'm sure I will, so don't worry. If you love to hear me say that, it will come back. How long have I been talking? I forgot where the thing is. 43 minutes, oh God. And I haven't had breakfast. I'm going to stop this and upload it. Thank you very much for watching. You might tell me what you think. You think this is going to be good? I think it's going to be good. Now, I've done this before, this very same thing. But, there, I'm going to say it again. When I do it again and again and again, I get better at it, I don't get smarter. I just get better at it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.